When I was in college, one of my friends, she wanted to be skinny. That was all she cared about. It was being skinny. Now, she was going about it in a very unhealthy way. Let's just put that out there. And I was concerned about that, but I wasn't so much concerned about the fact that she was not being healthy as much as I was concerned about myself and my own confidence in the way that she was making me feel by chasing skinniness when I was fat. I was upset with her, not because I cared about her health, not because I wanted to see her healthy, but because the fact that she was chasing skinniness made me feel like she didn't think that I was attractive, and that she thought that I was ugly, and that she didn't see me as beautiful. And one of my other friends had to tell me, it's not about you, right? It's about her. It's about how she feels comfortable in herself. And while she was doing it in an unhealthy way, it was not a personal attack against me. Alright, y'all, I am back with another video. I have a lot to say today. So please bear with me and try to stay for the entire video because it's going to be a good one. So recently on TikTok, there's just been a lot of chaos going on. A lot of people are coming out with their think pieces about SliimKim's recent video she posted not even a week ago, talking about skinny being her personal vice. She's basically in the video, well, you know what? I'll just let you guys check it out for yourself.
My favorite thing to be is skinny. And I fear you cannot say that out loud, but it is my favorite thing to be, and it is my favorite fear to not be. And this is just for me personally. This is all personal to me. But I just wanted to say it out loud because honestly, it's all I think about. It's all I think about.
Okay, so you guys heard the video. She's talking about how she loves being skinny. It's her personal favorite thing to be, her personal favorite fear to not be. She's just going off about being skinny. Now, as you guys could imagine, a lot of people had a problem with this video. We're going to get into the reasons, but before that, let's check out some of the responses to her video.
The collective outcry on this app when SliimKim came out and said what most fat people know that many skinny people think is just indicative that we are not mentally prepared for the shift of conservatism that is happening in this country. The rise in body fascism, the narrowing down of what is seen as beautiful or what is seen as an acceptable way to look has been happening for some time now. If I'm being real, it started with the deer versus doe eyes versus siren eyes versus dark feminine versus all of that. It's a pipeline. Do you have cat face or deer face turned into let's turn our faces to the side and analyze the slopes of our noses like fucking eugenicists? And I think that because we are so used to seeing the alt-right pipeline as marketed towards men, it's more difficult to recognize and understand when it's being marketed towards us in beauty spaces. It is not a coincidence that all of a sudden skinny people are coming out and declaring that they love being skinny. It is not a coincidence that brands that formerly claimed to care about diversity or whatever are rolling back on their darker skin tone. People are now openly saying the R slur on social media again like it's normal. All of a sudden it's become accepted to declare on this app that you don't care about Palestinian people and their genocide. As we scroll and consume and even participate in social media, we need to be engaging in critical thought. Media literacy is dead. Can we revive it, please?
Call me a hater, but SliimKim's video about how she's so happy she's skinny did bother me. And I think it is weird. I also find it so interesting that she felt comfortable making this video after the election, because there is a correlation. What we're going to start to see is so many people clinging on to whatever perception of privilege that they have as a means of social advancement. But back to SliimKim. She knows what she was trying to say. You know what she was trying to say. We all understand what she was trying to say. And I at least wish that y'all would be comfortable and stand on it and stop trying to make it seem like we're just taking it the wrong way. Because the reality is, she's only happy to be skinny and, thinks about being skinny all day is because she believes that there's some perception, some privilege that's attached to her skinniness. And whenever someone tries to use privilege as an example with me at least, the question that I always ask is, where in your life can you show me the benefit of this privilege? What have you accomplished as a result of this privilege? That's just how I feel. You are happy that you're skinny and you feel, and that's all that you think about, and you get to have a better existence on earth with skinniness, then I just go for it. Enjoy.
You are not saying something groundbreaking or revolutionary by talking about how proud you are to be a skinny person. okay? And it's wild to me that in the same breath, a lot of these same people will talk about how they grew up skinny and they were bullied for it, but then also recognize that society treats fat people and plus size people as subhuman. Okay? But when you talk about how proud you are to be thin, you're reminding me of a certain group of people. And I'm not going to say it directly. I'm going to have you read in between the lines a little bit, okay, if you can do that. And you might be thinking, oh, Emily, that is such a big jump. How could you say that? Actually, if you had any knowledge of the fat acceptance movement, of the body positive movement, you would understand that fat people and plus size people loving and accepting their bodies has always been political. There is a reason that this movement, okay, went alongside with other social justice movements, okay? I know this. I wrote a 45-page paper in my social justice movement class about the same thing, okay? And when people come online and they talk about how they face similar challenges as fat people and yada, 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 it's giving reverse racism, okay? And I'm saying this as a white privileged woman, okay? There are creators who are much more knowledgeable than me. I will link one below, okay? But I need you to understand that there is a power dynamic, all right? There is a power dynamic, and by you recognizing that there is a power dynamic and you being able to understand that society treats you better, but not doing anything about it and also feeding into it, you are the problem. There's a reason why that conservatism and traditional values are on the uptick at the same time that all of this like thin is in, skinny is whatever, they go hand in hand with one another, okay? And I'm not just making this up. It actually is very easy to understand if you have any sort of critical thinking skills or access to Google, okay? I don't feel like it is my job, nor is it fat people of color's job to educate you on this subject, but it needs to be talked about, okay? It needs to be talked about because you guys are losing the fucking plot. You guys are going insane and crazy. And it's, again.
Alright, so I went through SliimKim's page and this content isn't too far-fetched for her. I want you guys to be so aware that this is not anything new for her. She seems to make a lot of unapologetic, Tony Chow's level, confident content. So I wasn't surprised to see her talking about really loving something physical about herself. I will say though that I was a little bit taken aback when she said that it's her favorite thing to be or her favorite fear to not be. I think that definitely is problematic language, even for someone who often speaks in hyperbole, because if you go through her page, you will see that she does speak a lot in hyperbole. But I think even for someone who speaks like that, I think it's still important to be aware of having a harmful mindset like that when it comes to any body type, honestly. What I don't understand though is why it had to turn into like a roast fest by this particular creator.
All about to let a skinny ass agent of chaos that tried to sit there and play in another black woman's face when it came to the topical fucking discussion, right? Why do y'all keep letting that woman be an agent of chaos on this fucking app? Why do y'all keep letting that very, very obvious, I grew up in a PWI and I don't really have black friends, and when I finally did get black friends, I still have some deconstructing to do. That's the type of black girl vibes I get from her. You still lying about using lip filler and gaslighting, saying, oh, black women have full lips. There's full lips and then there's filler lips, and I'm still gonna stand on that. Allegedly, I think that bitch has fucking lip filler and it looks fucking horrible. It looks fucking horrible because she has those lines right there, those lip flip lines, and I'm not gonna let her continue to play in people's faces. That bitch has fucking lip filler and it looks bad. She's one of them, and we're gonna see a lot more of them. I think y'all need to understand what virtue signaling is. I think y'all need to understand what a dog whistle is. I think y'all need to recognize patterns of behavior, and it's hard to do that on this app because this app likes to sit in a world of what ifs and what about isms and not fucking reality. And we've been seeing that same clique of black TikTok, that same group of people, say some shit lately, and they've been really awful with their fucking takes, and it's a couple of them. And I told you I blocked the light bright crew, but I'm gonna make it the brown paper bag crew because we're gonna see people who benefit from these white supremacist views start leaning more into that now that we are going to be in a full-on fascist country, which has always been fascist, but now that we're leaning like head on into it, you're gonna see your faves that I've been telling you are fucking ops and have been switching up lately really lean into that. And what's so unfortunate about critiquing other black creators is
I feel like assuming she has lip filler and calling her the B word, I feel like all of this is kind of wild, considering, well, everything. Like, saying that her lips look horrible, and I'm pretty sure those are her natural lips, by the way. I think that's actually insane. Oh, and she actually does come out and say that those are her natural lips. I'll play the clip for you.
I've definitely addressed this comment before, but I feel I might as well address it again. I am Nigerian, West African. This is one of our most prominent features. We are known for having fuller lips. So yeah, I just thought I would re-educate you and the rest of you that are in my Instagram DMs telling me about my lip filler. Yeah, it's not filler. These are mine. Thank you. Bye-bye.
But the point here is you're coming at her for something that she's born with. Like, I'm not sure why this would make someone angry to the point where they would have to start throwing insults like that. It's just not that deep. It's okay to disagree with people. It's okay to acknowledge that what they're saying might have its issues without the vicious insults, because now you just look a little nutty. Like, calling her an agent of chaos is a little crazy to me. Maybe there's something I'm missing. You guys let me know in the comments down below if there's something that SliimKim has been posting that I haven't seen yet. But agent of chaos is just not a word I would use to describe her. Like, I feel like SliimKim's wording, again, in all of her videos is extremely hyperbolic. And in this specific video, I feel like it is undeniably problematic. It's triggering language. But please bear with me because that's not the full story, and I'm going to get into it in just a second. But like I was saying, we can see under her own video, people are alluding to the fact that skinny being her favorite thing about her is problematic. Like, people are under there saying, my favorite thing to be is kind, my favorite thing to be is a mother. Like, okay, cool. Like, I get it. You're motherfucking Teresa. But I understand, because with all the awful things that could possibly happen, not being skinny is such an irrational fear to have. I could understand why it could be so shocking to people to hear someone say that, especially with the way, like, everything is extremely politically correct on TikTok right now, and people are just like flying down people's throats the moment they say anything offensive. Is it that deep though? I don't know. I agree, but I also feel like there are certain factors that many people are ignoring when they're taking her videos, stitching it up, and basically like calling her the Antichrist. In Black culture, thinness is not something that we glorify. It's not something that we admire on the same scale as our white counterparts, or even in other societies. Let's just say that. In fact, it's frowned upon in a lot of cases, thinness.
I don't think a lot of you guys are looking at SliimKim's statement about being skinny through a black lens, because being skinny in the black community is not like the highest beauty standard. It's always, shorter average women who are thick. That has always been the beauty standard for us. I am 5'8". I am skinny. I think the last time I weighed myself, I was like 135 pounds. My shoulders are a little bit wider. I don't really have that waist thing going on, and my hips are just non-existent. It really wasn't until this year where I finally came to terms with the fact that I am not going to be thick. I've always wanted to be thick. My entire family is thick, gorgeous, voluptuous bodies, and that's just not me. But I can still love myself for the way I am. I don't know what her intent was with that video, because it was so vague, but yeah, I just think that we really need to analyze that aspect of being skinny within our own beauty standard.
From my understanding, SliimKim is Nigerian, and I don't think it's fair that a lot of people are saying, regardless of her being Nigerian, she probably grew up around a lot of white people. Please stop speculating these things about Black people when we speak in a certain way that you're not used to, or we look a certain way that you are not used to, because you yourself are racist and you cannot see Black people in a different lens other than the stereotypical one that you created yourself. It's ridiculous. I feel like turning around and trying to strip SliimKim of her Blackness because it doesn't fit your definition of Blackness is absolutely ridiculous, mind-boggling, and offensive. Like, please stop that shit. I'm almost 100% sure growing up around Nigerian people, being around her Nigerian family, this is not something that SliimKim would have grew up hearing other Nigerian people be proud of, praising. I think it would be unfair not to take that into account. I think body size obsession is an issue no matter how you look at it, but it's not always as black and white as people make it seem. Sometimes people admire things about themselves as a form of rebellion due to being told the opposite all their lives. Like, if you're told all your life that you're way too thin, and then you step into a space and you're actually being praised for that, you could just imagine the impact that that would have on your self-esteem, and how you might reclaim your thinness as something that you're proud of and not ashamed of anymore. We have to see things not so black and white, and we need to open our eyes to other people's perspectives. It's not always what you think it is.
No tea, no shade, but I know exactly what SliimKim meant. This has come from somebody who's been skinny their whole life, been bullied for being skinny, 100 pounds soaking wet their whole life, and tried everything in the book to gain weight. I'm talking about I used to force myself to drink 3 Ensures a day until I threw up. I tried a pediment, whatever you want to call it. All the weight gain masses, the putting peanut butter in my smoothies, everything in the book, and I still can't gain weight, and I'm cool with that. I had to learn myself for just being slim as hell. So I know what you mean, but it was all about wordplay. But there's nothing wrong with self-confidence, because let's be honest, if a plus size girly came up here and said the same thing, that I love being plus size, I love my size, and I wouldn't want to wish to be anything smaller than what I am, y'all would have all been gassing her up. Nobody would have been clocking her tea. But for some reason, anytime a skinny girl wants to love herself, y'all make it seem like it's an issue, like skinny girls can't get body shamed. Because I grew up hearing my whole life, why is your wrist so small? Why don't you be eating? You're borderline underweight. I've been called Slim Jim, Cinnamon Sticks, Cinnamon, Twig, you fucking name it. I feel like the only people that's getting offended is the people that don't love themselves. If the shoe don't fit, don't fucking force your big ass feet into it. Y'all could have saw the post and keep scrolling. Why are you making it about you like she was trying to hate on plus size girlies? I don't think it gave that at all, but let me shut up.
What if SliimKim was Big Kim and she was unattractive and fat and said, I love being big. I love it. I embrace it. This is what I love to be. Would y'all be mad? Because I don't think so. I don't think that women who are not plus size would be bothered by a woman who is bigger saying, I love being bigger. I embrace being big, whatever it might be. Women have a problem with a woman who is attractive to them, intimidating to them, and very much in shape. So it is if you are a small woman, I've talked about this before, and you embrace being skinny and in shape and being a small frame, people make you feel like you can't speak about that. Monique's whole career was about being a big woman and making skinny bees feel like they wasn't worth nothing. So the fact that women are upset and calling her names because she's saying that she made it I like to be skinny. And I ain't mad at her. I love the shape that I am, and I want to maintain my weight. But again, it's very hypocritical when it comes to how women perceive other women. Okay.
And what I'm describing here, we see it so much right here in American society. How obese people often get carried away with the whole body positivity movement. So long they were told that their fatness is a problem. Now they're taking it back and saying they love and accept themselves for who they are. And oftentimes it's seen as quite offensive to point out the dangers of obesity when fat people are enjoying and being proud of their bodies. I understand that flipping this on its head, trying to turn it the other way around, isn't exactly the same. I don't want to compare apples to oranges here, because in American culture, we've mistreated fat people simply because they are fat on a way larger scale than we have to thin people. I mean, when you look at the entertainment industry, when you look at modeling and film, thin people have more of an advantage when it comes to that. And thin people experience privilege in all sorts of sectors of society. However, America is a melting pot, and although we exist here, our cultural beliefs aren't all influenced by American thoughts and ideals. White thoughts and ideals, I should say. And even when you look at Black culture, it's not one big monolith. For example, coming from St. Lucia, and again, this might just be in my community in St. Lucia, we don't really view fatness with the same positivity as perhaps a Nigerian would. Like, I remember getting bullied for being overweight in the Caribbean, yet we're a predominantly Black nation. So see how the way we rebel from beauty standards couldn't possibly be the same because we don't have the same beauty standards? To assume that SliimKim is appreciating her thinness because of its acceptability in Western society is to dismiss her background and experiences. Okay, so maybe she did notice that thinness possesses a power here that it didn't among other groups, and she's using that to her advantage. She might have experienced people actually complimenting her and appreciating her body type in white groups. We have to remember that not everyone who is thin got there through starving themselves or through harmful habits. Some people have always been small and have been told time and time again that they're way too thin when it's mostly out of their control. Fact of the matter is, we don't know, and it's wrong to just sit here and make assumptions. And I honestly can't say I'm surprised with the way social media is right now that people actually thought that what she was saying was a personal attack on them. Again, this doesn't happen as often when fat people are happy with their bodies. I'd argue even fuller figure, thick people, like anybody who's not skinny, talking about how much they love their bodies, does not experience this backlash. Remember when Nicki Minaj said, "Fuck them skinny bitches in the club"? Remember all the "I've got to" comments, like all the "I've got to" this and "I've got to" that whenever a girl was making a TikTok and she had a big butt? Like, come on. And then for people to turn this into a black issue, saying that her fat phobia is coming from an anti-black place, is actually so fucking offensive. I'm sorry, I have to say this again. I'm so tired, and I mean so tired, of people trying to find a causal relationship between being born black and ending up overweight. Like, herein lies the problem. Why do we so often want to hold onto things about us that are less than optimal, even dangerous, like obesity? We are one of the only communities who tries to revoke race cards when someone goes against the status quo. Like, do you speak proper English? You're not black enough. You don't sound black. Like, what the fuck does that mean? And why are we allowing things like body size to hold such power as to what we represent as a culture? And why are we so quick to say that she doesn't belong to the black community, or to speculate that she may not belong to the black community, even though we can clearly see that she's black? Now, I know that coons exist, but I feel like to just take something that someone says and then make it seem like they hate black people, they don't want no parts of black culture, or what they're doing is so that they can appeal to white people, it's insane to me. Truth is, we're all victims to societal standards, and when thickness was super in and a lot of people saw that their body type was in, they went out of their way to show how much they love their bodies. And a lot of people loved it, and a lot of people cheered them on, and I don't think there's necessarily a problem with naturally thin people loving being naturally thin. You guys all know my issues with the Liv Schmidt thing, because you probably watched the video. Promoting skinniness and teaching people how to be as skinny as possible is a whole different story than just saying, I love my body, this is how I am, and I love it and I accept it. I feel like a lot of people took this personally because they just don't like to see particular groups of people openly confident. They don't like to see a woman that they feel intimidated by, a woman that they themselves think is attractive, that they themselves deem to be more attractive than them, being in love with herself. They don't like to see that. So they make it a personal attack. And then the point that people have been making, that if an obese woman were to come out and say that, a lot of women who are smaller than her and deem themselves more attractive than her, because we're all aware, even if it's on a micro scale, of how these standards are affecting us. And a lot of us, as much as we don't want to admit it, we like the ones that we can fit into. What those things about ourselves, oh, I'm fat, but at least my waist is thin. That's the standard. Like, a lot of these things, like, people, like, we're proud when we're able to fit into it. So when, going back to what I was saying, I'm sorry I'm rambling, but when we see these bigger women or an obese woman on the internet, we will always see women who deem themselves to be more attractive than her, or to deem her as a confidence queen, going off in the comments telling her, oh, you go girl, because they're not intimidated by her, so she is allowed to use her voice to praise herself. Oh, you could do that because it's not affecting me. It's not reminding me that I'm not there yet. You're not slapping me in the face. That's how they interpret it. I remember, and this video is getting really long, but let me just close it out by this. When I was in college, one of my friends, she wanted to be skinny. That was all she cared about. It was being skinny. Now, she was going about it in a very unhealthy way. Let's just put that out there. And I was concerned about that, but I wasn't so much concerned about the fact that she was not being healthy as much as I was concerned about myself and my own confidence in the way that she was making me feel by chasing skinniness when I was fat. You guys understand, like, when you can admit these things to yourselves, you get less offended over time and people affect you less. Like, I was upset with her, not because I cared about her health, not because I wanted to see her healthy, but because the fact that she was chasing skinniness made me feel like she didn't think that I was attractive, and that she thought that I was ugly, and that she didn't see me as beautiful. And one of my other friends had to tell me, it's not about you, right? It's about her. It's about how she feels comfortable in herself. And while she was doing it in an unhealthy way, it was not a personal attack against me. Now, are there people out there who are really fat phobic? Yes. And can SliimKim very well be fat phobic? Yes. But the truth is, we don't know. And I feel like when we get on the internet and we go off based off of very few details about one simple thing, and then we talk about this alt-right pipeline, and then try to, like, before anyone says anything, we say they're in a cult, it's dangerous and we need to stop. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.